Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, where today I'm going to be talking about the first three Scorpion King sequels. I haven't seen the fourth sequel, and I doubt I ever will, so I thought I'd go ahead and talk about these three. The first of the sequels is actually a prequel telling the story of Matthias before the events of the original 2002 film. In it, the future Scorpion King seeks vengeance on the man who killed his father. This is easier said than done, of course, not least because the killer was Sargon, a powerful sorcerer who is also the king of Akkad. The Scorpion King 3, meanwhile, jumps some years after the original film. After a terrible plague afflicts his kingdom and kills his wife, Queen Cassandra, Matthias abandons his reign and returns to his former life as a mercenary. His first assignment to travel far to the east and thwart the evil machinations of the wicked prince Talus, who has for some reason decided that the best way to seize his brother's kingdom in Egypt is to usurp a throne in Thailand. Look, I didn't write it, I'm just telling you the facts. Although Matthias claims a new crown at the end of the third movie, the Scorpion King 4 has him once more back to his mercenary ways and back in lands that are probably supposed to be North African or Middle Eastern based on the names that are used. No explanation is given for this. In any case, Matthias' task this time is to protect the lost treasure of King Alcuman, former ruler of the world, from the wicked prince who seeks it. So, although the 2002 Scorpion King movie was a financial success, it took 6 years for the first sequel to appear, and when it did, it was a direct to DVD offering where original man Dwayne, the leading man Dwayne The Rock Johnson, was replaced with Michael Copon, whose headline credit was playing the Blue Ranger in Power Rangers Time Force. Despite these less than encouraging signs, the Scorpion King 2 evidently did well enough on home media that three more sequels did come after it, each one 3 or 4 years after the one before. As I noted earlier, I haven't seen the last of these, but I have watched the others. So, how are they? Well, none of them are what I would call good movies, but I think it is fair to say that they each bring something different to the table. For instance, while the original Scorpion King is a pretty obvious Conan pastiche, the first sequel instead seems to draw its inspiration from Ray Harryhausen's mythic epics like Jason and the Argonauts, Clash of the Titans, and the Sinbad movies. So, what's the difference? Well, the first film in this series had a purely human cast with only one character with sorceress abilities and no magical items at all. Most of the characters are just really good at making other people dead by hitting them with sharp or heavy metal objects. This film, by comparison, has Matthias face the Minotaur to find the gate to the underworld, where he seeks the sword of Damocles, which he must steal from the goddess Astartes, so he can use it to kill the sorcerer king Sargon, who will transform into a giant scorpion when they do battle. I can totally see Harryhausen making a move with that plot, though he'd have had the gumption to include a sea serpent fight in the ocean voyage and skeletal adversaries in the underworld. He'd also probably have made a movie that was fun, even if it wasn't actually good. Because there's another important difference between the first Scorpion King film and this one, and that is that this one is dreadful. When the MMA fighter you cast as your villain is the most credible actor on screen, you have a problem. The third film, meanwhile, seems to have its eyes firmly on Asian cinema, and I'm not just saying that because there are a whole lot of ninjas in this movie. As noted before, Matthias is no longer a king in this one. A terrible plague swept over his people, decimating the population and killing his wife. Devastated by these losses, he abdicated and returned to his earlier ways as a sellsword, seeking the most dangerous of tasks, partly for the cold and partly for the chance of death. Yep, he's all about the man pain. Playing the role of Matthias this time is Victor Webster, who I rather liked as the roguish Brendan Mulray in Mutant X, but who is not well suited to the whole brooding and Lancelot thing we have going on here. Matthias, in any case, accepts a job from Horus, king of Egypt, travel to the far off land, which I did not hear named, but it was filmed in Thailand and makes liberal use of elephants and the distinctive architecture of that region, to help the ruler there defeat an invasion by Horus's brother Talus. Talus is played by Billy Zane, who chews the scenery like he's starving and the set is made of bacon. So, in other words, the villain is again the best thing in the movie. Now, this is a better film than the first sequel, which is damning with faint praise if I ever heard it. It has some solid action sequences, though the larger battles are not amongst them, and cool costumes. It is unfortunately let down by sometimes boneheaded script that fails to use Webster to his best advantage, and by a somewhat weak performance from the actor playing the princess. She's just a bit flat. The fourth film once again starts Matthias as a mercenary sellsword, though a generally much less angsty one than he was in Scorpion King 3. It makes no attempt to explain why this situation has occurred, but this plays to Victor Webster's strengths as a leading man much better this film tilts its hat firmly in the direction of Tomb Raider style light action hijinks. The mission this time involves unraveling a series of ancient riddles in order to discover the secret treasures of the Sorcerer King Alcaman. Absent the whole sank beneath the waves element, this all feels very Quest for Atlantis. It's certainly not a perfect film. The plot's a bit dim and the tone tends to career uncomfortably between juvenile humour and taking itself too seriously. But The Scorpion King 4 generally makes better use of its cast, and in particular has the distinction of being the first film since the original where the Scorpion King is actually the most memorable character in his own movie. Next time, John Wayne's 1960 Western war epic, The Alamo, which depicts a version of events of the 1836 battle. But that is next time. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you've seen any of these films, let me know what you thought of them.